So today's Father's Day, and I just had a few reflections from the sermon. I took a couple of notes from the sermon at church, but obviously basing it in the story of my own father. And yeah, it was just really awesome to reflect on that. It's normally a sad day for me, but I learned some really cool things. I always knew that the early years of a person's life are so important, but research shows that first 12 to 15 years of a person's life sets them up pretty much for life. Um, Basically the deposits, what they call deposits of development that you get at home, are basically, yeah, that's it. That's you in your life, which is just crazy. My first 17 years were blessed by a hero, a giant. His name was Lovejoy, and he was exactly like that, loved joy. He was my best friend, and in terms of all the things, the best parts of me, those are just things he intentionally built. Anyone who ever visited us at home would encounter this humorous, wise, patriotic, generous, confident, affirming person. That was the original carpool karaoke. We would do that, stories by the fire, where he'd be telling us stories fictional, but also some about family and cautionary tales, just imparting wisdom in every interaction he had with all of us as kids. Sometimes we'd just be dancing to music, and I raised a lot of pocket money playing gin rummy, no judgment, with him. I don't doubt that he used to let me win a lot of times, but that's just because I think he knew the world is going to let us lose lots and lots of times. And so home should be somewhere where we feel like winners. I mean, the certain and pure love that he gave made us feel invincible. I can safely say in that time I thought I can do anything, I have no limits, because he believed I could. I'm going to talk about how this connects back to self esteem later. But I think it's because he knew a secret about life that I'll also touch on later. So, as I said, he was a giant, he was a superhero, and his superpower was affirmation. His love language were your love languages, or words of affirmation and gifts. And it meant that as young as I could remember, I thought, I could rule the world if I wanted. I didn't even think about the fact that I'm like black, that I'm a girl, that I'm African. All these things just seemed so insignificant because of the way he saw me and the identity he, poured into me. There was nothing I couldn't do because he believed, and his belief in me transformed my belief in me. That's related even to my own love for me. So sometimes it seems like my self esteem is like huge in some ways, but it's not by accident. I was definitely not born this way, but he built it this way, partly because I think he knew the world is cruel and it's going to constantly try and make you feel insignificant, small, or that your dreams don't matter. So he would always do the opposite of that, right? No matter what dream I talk about, he just like, yeah, you can do it, and he'll just push, so it's with such certainty. And also in his own wisdom, I think he knew that there's a certain kind of life you live if you are positive and loving. Just those, there's the two things that he really drummed into us. Not only do you see the best in people and yourself, but you make the best out of every situation. So he lived a blessed life. And his hero style funeral is a testament to that. The weather was terrible, but it was like so packed. I think there's so many people I didn't even see then, because that's how huge the funeral was. And it's a testament to the amazing person he is. And every other day, I could write sonnets and odes about this man. One day, we can have tea and I can tell you more about him. But today, I just want to double click on something. Growing up with a father like him was so crucial for the person I've become now. In fact, my sister said I've gone on to emulate, certain aspects of the life he's had, you know, passion for things like politics, justice. We did fellowships, patriot, ready to serve the underdog. Oh, soft spot for the underdog. We're passionate about seeing people live the best version of their life and being the best version of themselves. After he died, of course, I had to be thrown off the pedestal he built for me growing up and had to be picked up by my divine Father, God himself, because someone's always going to have to be playing that role. And the one thing about this is, as I said before, my earthly father was, imperfect, but look at how amazing and near perfect he was. Now, when I encountered a divine Father God who is even more generous, even more gracious, even more affirming, I'm telling you, if you want to have superpowers, allow yourself to see yourself the way God sees you. That's powerful. No circumstance, no person, no position, no critique is big enough to break what God has for your life. And he has something amazing for every one of our lives. I've seen it in my personal path with him. It's just been amazing for me. Every year I think I've reached my limit, and this is a little dream that I want, and I want to be able to do this, and this is the highest dream. And he tells me, dream bigger. Every time we stretch, dream bigger, I'm going to do more. And then he makes sure that the dream comes to pass even faster than I imagined. I must say, it's very hard when the first man you love is a father like the earthly father I have. And then on top of that, you're now dealing with God, like an actual perfect being. I understand that most people never had a remotely perfect father. Those people who don't have wonderful memories of being affirmed and loved and constantly pursued might not be able to relate to when I'm talking about a divine father. And in fact, there have been strong connections shown to the fact that understanding a divine father when you had such an issued relationship with your own father is that much harder, right? So when we're talking Father's Day, it's not just a day, it's a big deal. Dads have such a huge role to play in the identity of the world, right? And so you can't give what you don't have. So just imagine, poor fathers beget poor fathers. But this doesn't have to be the case. For those people who feel insignificant, even those people who think their dreams don't matter, I'm going to tell you that whatever you believe about your future will be true, because as long as you believe it, and instead of what God believes for you, it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy. With everything that's happened in the world, we've seen how fleeting life actually is and how short it can actually be for you to make sure it matters. So whatever the cry of your heart is, when God puts that desire in your heart, he'll help you see it come to pass, right? That's what it's there for. Like, it is worth fighting for. But also, even if you don't believe in God, he loves you anyway, and he'll still be your divine help. I just want to let you know that if you've ever wondered what drives a person like me, or what makes me this person, I would say mostly happy and jolly 85% of the time. I'm a glass half full girl. I have a village and an army of people who are for me and my dreams, and who remind me who and whose I am whenever I forget who I am. And God himself will send friends, family to remind me that I can do anything and everything. So yes, I lost an amazing, amazing father who I will grieve for a long time to come. But having that divine help, knowing that there is that constant affirmation still being fed around me through my village and my community, and especially from the divine Father, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. So if you've never encountered that for yourself, I'd like to encourage you to just explore it. Talk to him. Just even say, okay, God, if you're real, show me how you love me this week. Or, God, if you're real, like, bring a key message to me. Give me some direction. Like, he just wants to speak to us. He just wants to be sitting there and love and pour on you. Because I'll tell you, part of how I could heal, even from my own grieving, was understanding that God put my father in my life to give me just an inkling of what his love is like for me. So can you imagine what my life will look like when I can finally fully understand God's love itself? So even if that encourages even one of you, just want to say that is my Father's Day message. And if it's hard for you, and if it's a dark season, like, I just give you virtual hug and pray for you. Thanks for listening.